Alright, hello again, Movie Club. This is going to be my review of the movie Stripes, starring Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, and actually one of the first films for John Candy. And this movie is what I thought it was going to be, which all I thought it was going to be was a Bill Murray 1980s comedy, so fucking hilarious, which it was. This movie was hysterical. I couldn't stop laughing throughout this movie. And it was kind of weird for me too because usually I'm more of a fan of like realistic type movies. This movie is completely unrealistic. Alright? I do not buy for a second that anything that happened in this movie could actually happen in real life. No, not at all. But but for the time it was released, I think it was definitely, and even now it's still a great movie, but it really made a lot more sense at the time it was released because the first half of this movie is, your basic boot camp stuff. It's pretty funny at times. Bill Murray always has the dry humor going on. And then the second half is what I think I can describe as best as we are America and we will kick your ass. I mean, the second half of this movie was pretty much just saying, fuck yeah, America, America. And it makes sense. This movie came out in 1981, which is right in the middle of the Cold War between the US and the Russians. And so it makes sense for a movie to be released where we kick Russia's ass. As far as the dialogue goes, of course, Bill Murray, always delivers, great line after great line. You have Harold Ramis in there too, and he's in there doing his thing. And you also have a young John Candy in this movie, which I think this is one of the first films he ever did. And it just makes me feel so bad that John Candy hasn't been around for 15 years. I mean, uh, pretty much just seeing John Candy in this movie, and he's a pretty big guy in this movie, and he was most of his career, pretty much just reminds me always kind of reminds me, don't always get attached to a heavier type comedian because you have John Belushi, John Candy, Chris Farley. They're all big, heavy guys who are absolutely hilarious, and they left us way too soon. And so to get away from that somber note, John Candy was hilarious in this too, and it was one of his first films. There's not really much else to say. It's pretty much your basic Bill Murray 80s movie and early 90s movie as well, which is it's hilarious, not realistic in any way whatsoever, but it's good for a watch, especially if you're a Bill Murray fan. Definitely check it out. It is a real riot.